What happens when one of the world's most powerful families finds itself at the center of a scandal that challenges centuries of tradition? The British monarchy, a symbol of continuity and heritage, now faces a storm of controversy as allegations swirl around Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's children. Rumors of surrogacy have sparked debates about lineage, transparency, and the future of the royal family. Could this scandal undermine public trust in the monarchy? How will Meghan and Harry navigate such deeply personal attacks? And most importantly, can the royal family survive the pressures of a modern world that demands both privacy and accountability? Let's get into details of this intriguing debate. The controversy first sparked when rumblings about Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's children, Archie and Lilibet, surfaced online. At the heart of it was a claim that seemed almost too outrageous to believe: the suggestion that surrogacy might have played a role in the births of their children. For the British monarchy, a family steeped in centuries of tradition and bound by strict rules about bloodlines and succession, this was more than a personal accusation. It was a challenge to the legitimacy of the future itself. In recent years, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have made headlines for all the wrong reasons, at least from the perspective of the institution they left behind. From their high-profile departure, dubbed Megxit, to Harry's tell-all memoir Spare, the couple's every move has invited intense public scrutiny. However, this particular controversy seemed to hit a nerve unlike any other. Perhaps it was because it went beyond their decisions as individuals and touched upon something sacred to the monarchy: the very nature of royal heirs. The origins of the allegations trace back to Meghan's estranged family members. Her father, Thomas Markle, known for his strained relationship with his daughter, has frequently made public statements that fuel speculation. In this instance, he reportedly raised doubts about the circumstances surrounding Archie's birth, leading to a surge of online discourse. Samantha Markle, Meghan's half-sister, added her voice to the narrative, making bold claims that the palace has yet to publicly address. These allegations, unverified but sensational, quickly gained traction, leaving many to wonder whether there was any truth to the matter, or if it was simply another layer in an already complicated family feud. The media predictably latched onto the story, amplifying it across platforms. Headlines speculating about the legitimacy of Archie and Lilibet's births began appearing in newspapers, online outlets, and even late-night talk shows. Social media, with its unrelenting pace, transformed whispers into trending hashtags. The hashtag #DoorRoyalSurrogacy began circulating, with users dissecting timelines, medical details, and even old photographs of Meghan during her pregnancies. In the age of the internet, no detail seemed too trivial for examination. The public response was polarizing, as it often is with anything involving Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Supporters of the couple, many of whom praised their decision to step away from royal duties, dismissed the allegations as baseless attacks driven by bias and a hunger for scandal. Critics, however, viewed the claims as another reason to question the couple's transparency and intentions. Some demanded answers, citing the monarchy's long-standing tradition of public accountability regarding its lineage. What made this controversy even more challenging for the royal family was its timing. At a moment when the institution was already grappling with modernizing its image under King Charles's reign, this scandal felt like a step backward into the shadows of doubt and distrust. Charles, having spent much of his early reign advocating for a streamlined, forward-thinking monarchy, now found himself faced with a deeply personal issue that struck at the heart of royal protocol. As the allegations spread, the spotlight naturally turned toward Buckingham Palace. Would the monarchy address the claims head-on, as it has done in the past with other controversies, or would it maintain the usual dignified silence? For now, there has been no official response, a choice that has only fueled further speculation. The palace's silence, often viewed as a strategy to preserve the mystique and dignity of the crown, has become a double-edged sword in the digital age. When the world demands answers, silence can sometimes be interpreted as complicity or worse, confirmation. For Harry and Meghan, the scandal came at a particularly turbulent time in their personal and public lives. Already navigating the pressures of a life away from royal privilege, they found themselves once again at the center of a storm they couldn't easily control. Meghan, who has often been vocal about the challenges of dealing with media scrutiny, now faced an allegation that wasn't just invasive but deeply personal. Harry, meanwhile, found himself in the difficult position of defending his family while also maintaining his criticisms of the institution he grew up in. This isn't the first time royal births have been a subject of public intrigue. From the media frenzy surrounding Princess Diana's pregnancies to the global attention Kate Middleton received during hers, the public has long been fascinated with the arrival of royal children. However, this was different. The nature of the allegations went beyond curiosity and entered the realm of doubt, a direct challenge to the authenticity of the bloodline. For a monarchy whose very identity is rooted in heritage and lineage, the stakes couldn't be higher. What added another layer of complexity was the question of succession. If the allegations were proven true, which at this point remains entirely speculative, it could raise significant questions about Archie and Lilibet's positions in the line of succession. British royal succession laws, steeped in tradition, require that heirs be born of the body of their titled parent. Any deviation from this could, theoretically, alter their standing within the royal hierarchy. This wasn't just a question of protocol, it was a question of identity and legitimacy. The broader implications of the controversy weren't lost on royal observers and experts. Many pointed out that the allegations reflected a deeper struggle within the monarchy, a tension between tradition and modernity. As the institution seeks to remain relevant in the 21st century, it faces the challenge of navigating a world where privacy is increasingly rare and every detail is subject to scrutiny. For now, the world watches and waits. The allegations remain just that, allegations. Yet, their existence alone is enough to shake the foundations of public trust. In an era where the monarchy is striving to redefine itself, scandals like these serve as stark reminders of the challenges it faces in maintaining its mystique while embracing transparency. The allegations surrounding Meghan Markle and Prince Harry had already caused a stir, but what followed was a reaction that took on a life of its own. The claims of surrogacy, though unsubstantiated, became a firestorm fueled by public curiosity and media sensationalism. As whispers turned into debates, it became evident that this wasn't just a passing rumor. It had become a topic that demanded attention. Yet, amidst all the noise, there was a resounding silence from Buckingham Palace. The monarchy, historically known for its stoic restraint in the face of controversy, chose to maintain its long-standing never complain, never explain policy. This decision, while consistent with royal protocol, did little to quell the growing speculation. For many, the silence was seen as an attempt to rise above baseless accusations, but for others, it was interpreted as avoidance, a reluctance to address a scandal that questioned the very legitimacy of royal heirs. This left the public divided. Was the palace staying silent out of dignity, or was there something deeper that they didn't want to address? Adding fuel to the fire were the royal experts and commentators who took to television and social media to weigh in. Some argued that the allegations were nothing more than a smear campaign against Meghan Markle, a woman who had already endured intense scrutiny since joining the royal family. Others, however, pointed to the palace's past behavior, noting that it had been quick to address controversies when they threatened the institution's integrity. Why then was there no statement now? The absence of clarity only deepened the mystery. Meanwhile, the public discourse around the surrogacy allegations brought to light broader questions about the monarchy's transparency. For centuries, the royal family's mystique has been both its greatest strength and its Achilles heel. The secrecy surrounding their private lives has preserved their aura of majesty. But in the age of social media, where information or speculation travels at lightning speed, that secrecy has become increasingly difficult to maintain. The monarchy finds itself at a crossroads, balancing its need for privacy with a growing demand for openness. For Meghan and Harry, the timing of this controversy could not have been worse. The couple was already navigating a challenging period, with rumors of marital strain making headlines just weeks before the surrogacy allegations emerged. Their decision to step back from royal duties and build a life in California had been polarizing, with supporters applauding their independence and critics accusing them of abandoning tradition. Now, with these new claims in the mix, Their every move was being dissected with renewed fervor. As the media continued to scrutinize the couple, attention turned to the line of succession and what these allegations could mean for Archie and Lilibet's place in it. While British royal succession laws require that heirs be born of the body of their titled parent, there has never been a public precedent addressing how surrogacy might impact that requirement. This legal ambiguity left room for endless speculation. Would the children's positions in the line of succession be secure if the allegations were true? And if not, what precedent would this set for future generations of royals? The lack of precedent didn't stop commentators from imagining the potential fallout. Some speculated that the monarchy might quietly amend its succession laws to address such scenarios, while others warned that doing so could invite further scrutiny. The monarchy, already under pressure to modernize its image under King Charles, would face an uphill battle in balancing its adherence to tradition with the realities of the 21st century. Yet, amidst all the noise, Meghan and Harry remained steadfast in their refusal to directly address the allegations. Their silence mirrored the palace's, creating a paradox that only fueled the rumor mill. Without official statements to counter the claims, the narrative was left in the hands of the media and public speculation. For many, this silence was a shield, a way to avoid giving credence to baseless rumors. But for others, it was a missed opportunity to take control of the story. Behind closed doors, the tension within the royal family was reportedly palpable. While King Charles was said to be focused on his vision for a streamlined and modern monarchy, the emergence of this scandal threatened to derail those efforts. Private discussions among senior royals reportedly centered on how best to handle the situation, with some advocating for a proactive response and others urging caution. The monarchy's strategy, it seemed, was as divided as public opinion. At the center of this storm were Archie and Lilibet, two young children who, through no fault of their own, had become subjects of intense public scrutiny. For their parents, this was perhaps the most painful aspect of the controversy. Meghan, who has often spoken about the challenges of protecting her children from media intrusion, now found herself in a situation where their very legitimacy was being questioned. Harry, too, faced the weight of navigating this delicate matter, torn between his role as a father and his place within a family that values tradition above all else. The role of the media in perpetuating this controversy cannot be overstated. From headlines speculating about Meghan's pregnancies to viral posts dissecting photographs, the narrative was driven by a relentless pursuit of clicks and views. Yet the ethical implications of such coverage were rarely discussed. Was it fair to amplify unverified claims at the expense of the individuals involved? And what responsibility did the media have in protecting the privacy of children who never asked to be in the spotlight? As the days turned into weeks, the surrogacy allegations remained a hot topic of discussion, both online and offline. The lack of resolution only heightened the tension, creating an atmosphere of uncertainty that hung over Buckingham Palace like a storm cloud. For the monarchy, the stakes couldn't be higher. This was more than just a personal scandal. It was a test of the institution's ability to adapt to a world that demands transparency while respecting boundaries. Through it all, one thing became clear. The monarchy's greatest challenge in this controversy wasn't the allegations themselves, but the broader implications they represented. In an era where tradition is constantly being questioned, the royal family faces an uphill battle to prove that it can evolve without losing its essence. The surrogacy allegations, though unsubstantiated, served as a stark reminder of how fragile public trust can be and how quickly it can be eroded by a single scandal. As the speculation continued to swirl, the focus inevitably turned to Buckingham Palace and its handling of the surrogacy controversy. For centuries, the royal family's strategy has been defined by its ability to remain composed under pressure, adhering to its unwritten rule of maintaining silence in the face of personal scandal. Yet, in an era dominated by rapid information exchange and constant media scrutiny, this approach seemed increasingly out of step with the public's demand for clarity. The palace's silence wasn't entirely unexpected, but it left room for interpretation, much of it unfavorable. Critics questioned why the monarchy hadn't taken steps to definitively address the allegations, especially when they touched on something as significant as the royal bloodline. For some, this silence was seen as an attempt to protect the institution's dignity. while others speculated that it was a calculated effort to avoid drawing further attention to the matter. Whatever the reason, the lack of a clear response only added fuel to the fire. The ripple effects of this controversy weren't confined to the walls of Buckingham Palace. It sparked broader debates about the monarchy's role in modern society and whether its traditions were becoming increasingly irrelevant. At the heart of these discussions was the question of transparency. Could an institution so deeply rooted in secrecy continue to thrive in an age where openness is not just expected, but demanded? The surrogacy allegations, while unverified, had opened the door to deeper questions about the royal family's accountability. King Charles found himself at the center of this delicate balancing act. Having ascended the throne with a promise to modernize the monarchy, he now faced a challenge that tested his leadership in ways he likely hadn't anticipated. On one hand, he needed to uphold the monarchy's traditions and protect its legacy. On the other, he had to navigate the expectations of a society that was no longer content with vague platitudes and carefully managed public appearances. The surrogacy scandal wasn't just a test of his ability to lead, it was a test of his ability to adapt. Reports from royal insiders suggested that Charles was deeply concerned about the potential long-term impact of the controversy. Behind closed doors, discussions were reportedly tense, with differing opinions on how to proceed. Some senior royals believed that the best course of action was to issue a carefully worded statement, reaffirming the legitimacy of Archie and Lilibet's births while dismissing the allegations as baseless. Others, however, cautioned against engaging with the rumors, fearing that doing so would lend them undue credibility. Amid these internal deliberations, the role of Prince William became increasingly significant. As the heir to the throne, William has often been seen as a steady and reliable figure within the royal family, embodying the values of duty and discretion. However, this controversy placed him in an uncomfortable position. While he had maintained a dignified silence on most matters concerning Harry and Meghan, the surrogacy allegations touched on issues that directly affected the future of the monarchy and, by extension, his own future role as king. William's response, or lack thereof, was closely watched by both the media and the public. Though he refrained from making any public statements, sources close to the prince suggested that he was deeply frustrated by the situation. For William, the allegations were more than just an attack on his family. They were an attack on the institution he has dedicated his life to upholding. Yet, like his father, he understood the risks of addressing the controversy head-on. In many ways, he was caught between his personal instincts and his duty to the crown. While the men of the royal family wrestled with their next steps, the media began to shift its focus to Meghan Markle. As the individual at the center of the allegations, Meghan faced intense scrutiny, not just from traditional media outlets but from social media platforms, where debates about her character and motivations raged on. Supporters praised her resilience in the face of relentless criticism, while detractors accused her of bringing undue attention to the royal family through her past actions and interviews. What became evident during this period was the double standard Meghan often faced compared to other members of the royal family. While scandals involving other royals were often met with a degree of understanding or even sympathy, Meghan's every move seemed to be dissected with an unparalleled level of intensity. This scrutiny extended to her role as a mother, with critics questioning everything from her parenting style to the legitimacy of her children's births. For Meghan, this wasn't just a public relations challenge. It was a deeply personal attack on her identity and her family. Meanwhile, Prince Harry found himself grappling with the fallout from the allegations in his own way. As someone who had openly criticized the media's treatment of his family in the past, Harry was no stranger to controversy. However, this particular scandal struck a different chord. It wasn't about him or Meghan as individuals. It was about their children. For a man who has often spoken about his desire to protect his family at all costs, the situation was both heartbreaking and infuriating. Harry's reaction to the allegations was one of quiet defiance. While he refrained from directly addressing the claims, his actions spoke volumes. In public appearances, he appeared composed but resolute, refusing to let the scandal overshadow his other commitments. Behind the scenes, however, those close to him described a man determined to shield his children from the harsh glare of public scrutiny. For Harry, the controversy wasn't just an attack on his family, it was a reminder of the toxic environment he had worked so hard to escape. As the controversy dragged on, it became clear that the royal family's handling of the situation would have far-reaching implications. Beyond the immediate fallout, the scandal raised questions about the monarchy's ability to adapt to the realities of the 21st century. Could an institution so deeply tied to tradition find a way to reconcile its past with the demands of a modern, transparent society? Or would controversies like these continue to chip away at its credibility? For the public, the surrogacy allegations became more than just a story about royal intrigue. They became a litmus test for the monarchy itself. Each day that passed without a definitive response from Buckingham Palace added to the uncertainty, creating a sense of unease that was difficult to ignore. The question wasn't just about whether the allegations were true. It was about what they represented: a monarchy under pressure, struggling to find its footing in an ever-changing world. As the days turned into weeks, the surrogacy controversy showed no signs of fading. It had become a narrative far larger than any one rumor, evolving into a symbol of the delicate balance the monarchy must maintain in the public eye. For some, the story was yet another example of how the royal family is struggling to modernize, grappling with outdated traditions in an age where transparency is demanded. For others, it was a reminder of the relentless scrutiny that accompanies life in the royal spotlight, a pressure so intense it can fracture even the strongest bonds. At the heart of the debate was the question of privacy. In years past, the monarchy could shield its private matters from public view, presenting a carefully curated image to the world. However, in the age of social media and 24-hour news cycles, such control has become nearly impossible. Any hint of scandal now spreads in seconds, and the public's appetite for royal intrigue seems insatiable. The surrogacy allegations, while unverified, had opened a Pandora's box of speculation that could not be easily closed. Meghan Markle's own relationship with the press played a central role in how this controversy unfolded. From the moment she became publicly linked to Prince Harry, Meghan had been subject to relentless media attention. For many, she symbolized a break from royal tradition, a biracial American actress entering one of the most historically white and traditional institutions in the world. This duality made her both a figure of hope and a target for criticism. The surrogacy allegations, in the eyes of her supporters, were merely the latest in a long line of attacks rooted in bias and resentment. For Harry, the controversy reignited old wounds. Having grown up under the watchful eye of the media, he was no stranger to the damage it could inflict. The loss of his mother, Princess Diana, had been a painful and public tragedy that shaped his views on the press and privacy. This latest episode only deepened his resolve to protect his family from similar harm. It was clear that Harry's decision to leave royal life and move to California was motivated, at least in part, by his desire to shield his wife and children from the pressures he had endured as a child. Yet even as Harry and Meghan sought to maintain their privacy, the allegations continued to raise questions about the line of succession. The monarchy's rules, steeped in centuries of tradition, have always emphasized the importance of bloodlines. According to British royal succession laws, heirs must be born of the body of their titled parent to claim their place in the hierarchy. While this language reflects an era far removed from modern medical advancements like surrogacy, it remains the foundation of the monarchy's lineage. This technicality became a focal point of the debate. If the allegations were true, though there was no evidence to support them, what would that mean for Archie and Lilibet standing in the line of succession? Legal scholars and royal historians weighed in, offering differing opinions. Some argued that the rules should evolve to reflect the realities of the 21st century, while others maintained that any deviation from tradition could undermine the institution's legitimacy. The mere possibility of such a scenario revealed the fragility of a system that relies so heavily on precedent. Meanwhile, the role of King Charles became increasingly scrutinized. As the head of the monarchy, Charles was tasked with steering the institution through one of its most challenging periods. His vision for a streamlined modern monarchy had been well publicized, but this controversy threatened to overshadow those efforts. Behind the scenes, Charles was reportedly working to manage tensions within the family, while also addressing the broader implications of the scandal. Sources close to the palace suggested that he was keenly aware of the need to protect the institution's integrity without alienating the younger generation of royals. One of the most delicate aspects of the situation was the potential impact on William and Harry's already strained relationship. The two brothers, once inseparable, had grown distant in recent years, their bond fractured by a combination of personal and public disagreements. The surrogacy allegations added yet another layer of complexity to their dynamic. While William remained focused on his future role as king, Harry's decision to step back from royal duties had fundamentally altered the balance within the family. Publicly, William maintained his composure, refusing to engage with the rumors. Privately, however, he was said to be deeply frustrated by the situation. For William, the scandal wasn't just about Harry and Meghan. It was about the monarchy as a whole. The allegations, though unproven, threatened to undermine the institution's credibility at a time when it could ill afford such a blow. His silence, though consistent with royal protocol, was a reflection of the immense pressure he faced as both a brother and a future monarch. For Meghan, the personal toll of the controversy was evident. She had always been a polarizing figure, but the surrogacy allegations struck at something deeply intimate: her role as a mother. The media's relentless focus on her pregnancies and the legitimacy of her children's births was, for many, a step too far. Supporters rallied around her, pointing out the invasive nature of the scrutiny and calling for greater respect for her privacy. Yet the damage had already been done, with the rumors casting a shadow over her family's public image. As the controversy dragged on, it became clear that this was not an isolated incident but part of a broader narrative about the challenges facing the modern monarchy. The institution, long defined by its adherence to tradition, was being forced to confront a rapidly changing world. From questions about transparency and accountability to debates over the relevance of royal protocols, the surrogacy allegations highlighted the monarchy's struggle to adapt. Despite the challenges, there were moments of resilience. Meghan and Harry continued their public engagements, using their platform to advocate for causes they cared about. Within the royal family, there were reports of quiet efforts to address the underlying tensions, with senior royals working behind the scenes to find common ground. These efforts, though largely unseen, hinted at the possibility of reconciliation, however distant it may have seemed. For the public, the controversy became a mirror, reflecting not just the monarchy's challenges but also society's evolving expectations. The surrogacy allegations may have been unverified, but they touched on themes that resonated far beyond Buckingham Palace. Privacy, tradition, modernity. These were issues that spoke to a broader cultural shift, one that the monarchy could no longer ignore. As the dust began to settle, one question remained: what would this mean for the future of the royal family? The controversy had exposed vulnerabilities within the institution, but it had also underscored its enduring relevance. The monarchy, for all its challenges, remained a symbol of continuity in a rapidly changing world. Whether it could navigate these challenges while maintaining its essence was a question that only time could answer. The surrogacy controversy surrounding Meghan Markle and Prince Harry had grown into something far larger than the initial rumors. While the allegations remained unverified, the public scrutiny they ignited shone a harsh light on the royal family, forcing them to confront questions about transparency, tradition, and modernity. Buckingham Palace, adhering to its long-standing never complain, never explain policy, maintained its silence, a strategy that both protected the monarchy's mystique and amplified speculation. For King Charles, the scandal presented a critical test of his leadership. Early in his reign, Charles had set a clear agenda to modernize the monarchy, streamline its operations, and make it more relevant to contemporary society. Yet this controversy highlighted the challenges of balancing tradition with the growing demand for openness. Behind closed doors, the pressure to address the rumors was immense, but so were the risks of giving credence to baseless claims by engaging with them publicly. The public remained divided. Supporters of the royal family dismissed the allegations as another unfounded attack on Meghan and Harry, while critics used the controversy to question the monarchy's relevance in the 21st century. Social media, as ever, acted as a breeding ground for speculation, with hashtags and heated debates dominating online platforms. Despite the noise, no clear answers emerged, leaving the narrative in a state of limbo. For Harry and Meghan, the personal toll was unmistakable. As parents, they found themselves navigating an unprecedented level of scrutiny, with their children's legitimacy and place in the line of succession called into question. Meghan, already a polarizing figure, faced renewed criticism and invasive attacks on her character. Harry, too, wrestled with the emotional weight of protecting his family, while maintaining the life they had chosen outside the royal fold. At the same time, the scandal had ripple effects within the family itself. Prince William, as the future king, found himself in a delicate position, torn between personal frustrations and his duty to uphold the monarchy's integrity. While he refrained from making public statements, reports suggested he was deeply troubled by the situation, viewing it as a potential threat to the institution's credibility. Behind the scenes, there were tentative efforts to bridge the divides within the family, but the road to reconciliation remained fraught with challenges. As the controversy began to lose steam, its broader implications lingered. It had exposed the monarchy's vulnerabilities in an age of relentless scrutiny and shifting public expectations. The surrogacy allegations may have been speculative, but they forced the royal family to confront difficult truths about their place in the modern world. The balance between preserving tradition and embracing change remained as precarious as ever, and the path forward would require careful navigation. With that, we have reached the end of today's video. If you have come this far with us, be sure to check out other videos on the channel.